Hi everyone! In this art lesson, we are going to learn how to paint an easy watercolor beach sunset step by step. So let's get started. I have already added a few drops of water to each of the colors that I'm going to be using. I sketch in my design by drawing a horizon line about 1/3 of the way down and adding a circle, a little circle for the sun, and then the beach as it gently slopes down and around, and kind of a wavy line for the beach. I've mixed together cadmium red with cadmium yellow and to make a really nice beautiful orange, and drag it across and just carefully painting around the sun, but also keeping my strokes nice and loose and easy. This should be relaxing and fun at the same time. It looks like a nice bright orange, but remember my colors will also dry just a little bit lighter than how they are when I put them on. I diluted my orange with a little bit more water and added a few highlights on the beach where the light is reflecting off of it. Of course, wipe off the extra water on a paper towel as I'm working. Now I'm adding a stripe of yellow into the sky. When I initially put down the yellow, just leave a little gap between the orange and yellow, and then I will go back in and join them. I can overlap them just a little bit and they will blend together really nicely as they dry. So you can see by leaving that sun white, it's really starting to pop already. Keeping the yellow on my paintbrush, I'm going to go in and just add a few little dabs, lines of yellow right underneath the sun where it's reflecting on the water. And then diluting my yellow a little bit and adding a few yellow highlights to the beach. Now I'm going to do the water. I'm using cerulean blue. That is going to give me a really kind of nice light tropical color. I could use a different shade of blue if I like. They'll give you kind of a different mood or effect. You could use ultramarine or even Prussian blue. You can experiment and try and see which ones you like best. As I'm working with that blue, I'm just going to leave a little sliver of white between the orange and blue until the orange has had a chance to dry a little bit more so that they don't bleed together. And then just pull little lines of blue across right in between the strokes of yellow. This is going to start giving an illusion of that sun reflecting on the water. Just make sure to leave little bits of white in between the yellow and blue as well. And as I bring the water down towards us, as it is coming towards the beach, leave just a little line of white between the sand and the water as well. And repeat on the other side. Add little stripes of blue in between the yellow. Making sure to leave some white to enhance the shiny effect. I really love the way that that is already appearing shiny. Now I'm going to add in some Prussian blue into the front. Darker objects tend to come towards us, so I'm adding in this blue to help enhance our sense of depth in this painting. Again, making sure to leave that little strip of white between the sand and the water. And take my time around the edges, but again, keep my strokes nice and loose and relaxed. And going back in with my cerulean and adding a line just to blend together that the Prussian and the cerulean blue. Now I've mixed together some black and some burnt sienna. That is going to be the color of my sand. Don't be afraid to leave some little specks of white in the sand area. That makes it kind of loose and reflective of the light. So going around the yellow and orange highlights I already have. And still leaving that little gap, that white line between the water and the sand. And adding that same sand color into that little bit of land in the distance. Oops, just gonna wipe that off. Yeah, if I overlap a little where I don't want it or have too much color, I can go back in and wipe it off with my finger or a paper towel or even a damp paintbrush. Damp clean paintbrush to lift off paint with. Now I'm using black and just dabbing in a little black at the front. Again, to make this area kind of come towards us. Keep it irregular. And by irregular, I mean more dabs in some places, less dabs in others. And going back onto that horizon line, just adding a little bit more of that black paint. And it's going to dry and blend out together. These are probably some little trees there in the distance. Switching to a small round paintbrush, I'm going to get a little bit of black. It's diluted down enough that when it dries, it's just going to turn kind of a nice dark gray. And I'm going in on the edge of the blue where it meets the white, and on top of the blue, just adding in a little line of that black to help give it some depth. So this is the edge of the water where it's lapping up over the beach. And it's an irregular line. It's broken here and there. It rolls behind the waves. I can continue using that small paintbrush or go back to the big paintbrush with the edge and just add the Prussian blue, add a few lines in the distance for a little bit of texture in the water. then the lines, as they move towards us, they can get a little bit wider and have a little bit more movement to them as well. And lastly, I like to go in with a paper towel and lift off. I can just use that same damp paper towel I've been wiping my brush on, but I can kind of lift off a little bit of the paint that is in the foreground, just to add a little bit more texture to the waves as they gently roll into the beach. And that's it. That's all there is to painting a really easy and fun beach sunset. So I hope you had fun and hope to see you next time on artlooklearn.com.